It's Tuesday, February the 8th. The lake level's 913 and a half. Finally got out to do a little bit of fishing. The weather's been pretty bad, but last few days have been gorgeous. Almost actually felt like a spring day out there today. But I'm sure we got several more weeks of winter coming. But anyways, like I say, lake levels was about 913 and a half, and the water temperature depends where you're at. I fished around Kimberling City today, and I know like the Upper James and Flat Creek, there's still a lot of ice on the surface. There's ice up in the Kings, up in White, and I'm sure there is up in Long Creek as well. But around Kimberling, I had water temperature about 44 degrees early in the day, and it got up to about 46, 47 degrees. I didn't get out real early, probably 10 o'clock, but actually fish bit pretty good, I thought. I was pretty one-dimensional today. I caught, everything I caught today was on a jerkbait. I did catch one on an Alabama rig, but most of the, pretty much all the fish came, relatively shallow. I think I caught one or two on a bluff end where, the fish was probably in 10 or 12 feet of water. But most of the fish came off, flatter banks, and I had a combination smallmouths, largemouths, and Kentuckies. The largemouths seem to come around timber, whether it be cedar trees or hardwoods. The smallmouth and spot seem to come on, bare, flatter banks with bigger rock on it, mixed gravel and chunk rock. But a lot of the fish were, like I say, extremely shallow, especially later in the day. They seemed like they bit, a little bit better. Had real good wind on a lot of the places I was fishing. And the water in that mid-lake area is not gin clear. It's not as clear as what it normally is. It had kind of a, not from rain or runoff. It just had kind of an off color to it. Visibility was about 3 foot, 4 foot. Sometimes this time of year, visibility at 10 to 12 feet, but it was nothing like that today. Like I say, I could see about probably 3 foot down, maybe 4 where the wind wasn't blowing. But it seems to be a lot of that scum and algae growing on the trees. And I pretty much just threw one color. I was throwing a McStick 110, and Spro Blue was the color. And I had it tied on from the last time I went out. And it seemed to be working because every fish I caught had, the whole bait in his mouth, tail first. I did catch one that had, 2 or 3 hooks. He had the bait sideways, but most of the fish that were biting were eating the bait. So I felt that, there wasn't really any reason to change color. And it seemed like I'd go along, but the fish were really keyed in on little points. I couldn't go down just a straight stretch or bank. I had to have the point of a little gut or a secondary point in a creek. And like I said, I did catch 1 or 2 off a bluff end. Some of the secondary points had submerged timber on them. I did catch 1 or 2 off of brush piles. I think I didn't have any big ones, but I had, I think, 7 keepers and probably 2 shorts. So, I didn't feel that was too bad with the way the water temperature and stuff is. A lot of times this time of year, if you get 6 or 7 bites on a jerkbait, usually you're going to have 1 or 2 that's going to be a, 4 to 5 pound fish. But I did not have that quality bite today. But, like I say, again, I was surprised how shallow a lot of them were. I did throw a crankbait a little bit, a rock crawler. I didn't throw it enough to say that it wouldn't work. I just had a little bit more confidence in the jerkbait, and, I like to throw it quite a bit. But it looks like the next week or so, the weather's going to be real nice. So, if a person can get out, now's the time to get out, and especially to catch a big fish. It seems like February, early March is when we catch some of our biggest fish of the year on Table Rock. A lot of them big females and big fish will start to move up out of that deeper water. A lot of times they won't necessarily go shallow, but they'll suspend up over that deep water. Kind of in the mouths of pockets where they're going to be spawning in another 6 to 8 weeks. But they'll start to stage up a lot. I did not deep fish at all. I idled around a little bit, center of some of the creeks and pockets. I didn't find any groups of bait fish, to vertical fish. normally about the middle of February, a lot of that deep bite starts to break up. A lot of those fish start moving kind of towards the bank and into the creeks, getting ready to spawn. So we should see that happen in another week or two. I have not seen any dead shad, and normally I don't, when we have a shad kill, it's usually not until the water starts to warm back up. When it's got down as cold as what it's going to get, and then it starts to go back the other way, that's when you seem to start seeing the shad dying. But I didn't see, any sign of that today. And one thing I wanted to mention too, if you guys are running Garmin LiveScope, I just put a new software update in mine this morning. It's a 19.10. If you get a chance, you need to, upload it into your units and check it out. It's got some new adjustments for your LiveScope where you can really clean a lot of the clutter up on your screen. It allowed me to crank my sensitivity up higher, and I can actually see my bait. I was throwing a little tiny swim bait a little bit, but I could see it out there as far as 60, 70 foot without any problem. So it really increased the distance that I could see the small baits. So whenever I get it tweaked out, I'll go ahead and put it online as far as what I've got my settings and stuff at on it. Like I said, today was the first day I had it. I was kind of playing around with it. But I think it's going to be a pretty neat deal when I get everything figured out as far as what to have my settings set at. But, like I say, if you get a chance to get out there, looks like we don't have any real bad weather coming in for the next 7 or 8 days. Going to be some decent weather. And it actually felt like a really nice spring day today. Days are getting longer. Fish are starting to be moved a little bit. But I'm sure we've got some bad weather coming, and it'll usually come whenever our first tournaments start. That's when the tournament will get bad. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.